Hey all, I just got off of a very busy shift. Even though it was very long, it felt longer because I didn't have my watch on me, and you know how I hate going to work without my watch. Anyhow, it was really, I felt bombarded. I felt like a factory worker because the patients consistently came on the board, one scan after another after another. It was like never ending orders of CT scans in ER. And it's a pretty busy place, but even like fully staffed, it really still felt crazy. So I can't even imagine if we were short staffed. Anyhow, after this long shift, I have 30 minutes left until I clock out. So I have one patient left. And this patient literally just flipped my really rough day around. And so I scan her. She kind of, hollered a lot, and she apologized because she had knee pain. So when we had to move her on the board, she just screams very loud and then apologizes. And I tell her, as long as you don't hit us, I'm okay. However, loud you scream. And she's like, I'm sorry. And so once we got her back on her bed, she's like, let me tell you a funny story. I'm like, okay. And this is the thing, even though it's like very busy and we're flipping the room back to back to back, I feel like one thing that I learned is giving the patient time to even like explain what's going on, or even like 2 minutes of just them talking. I think we became like so habitual and just like in and out and just fast paced. Let's get the next patient in. Let's get this list down. And we forget that we're dealing with humans and people want to be heard and listened to sometimes. And just that small moment can make a big difference to someone. And then especially this time, it was like reversed to me. So she wanted to tell me her story. And I was like, okay, what's so funny, right? And I'm willing to listen. So here she goes. I can barely hear her, so I get closer. And she's like, well, telling me about her son, and then something about her grandson. And then she starts saying stuff about, that that blanket you use for sex. And she couldn't think about what that word was to finish. And so she kept asking me, like, that blanket you use for sex, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like thinking, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm thinking something's like kinky. She's an older lady, like maybe in her 80s. So I'm like, what is she talking about? And so she kept saying the words, that blanket, that blanket you use for sex, man, woman, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, condoms? And then she's like, yes, condoms, that. She's like, my grandson had a whole bunch on my bed. And so then my son's son came in and he told me, Mom, you could use that as balloons, so you should use it for balloons. And so she was saying that she was going to grab them and use it for later tonight. And he's like, no, Mom, you can't say that. And she's like, that's so funny because my husband died a long time ago. But who knew that people use the term that blanket for sex? I don't even know how I guessed that, but it was so funny. And it made my night. It made my day. Like, I forgot about my whole entire day just to listen to this lady once I packed her up and got her comfortable, and just listen to her little joke for like 2 minutes. And that's what I got out of it. So I just wanted to share to y'all her funny story, another terminology for condoms. And just remember that we're but we're helping our patients. Even though they're sick and they need our help, they're still human beings. And just to listen just a little bit would be a change for once. And we're not factory workers. All right, I gotta go home. Toodles, noodles. Stay rad.